Hello, I hope you are well. I would like to talk about the life of Shirley Hughes, who was an English author and illustrator. I found out that she died at the age of 94 on Friday, and so I just wanted to make a video talking about her life. I am such a huge Shirley Hughes fan. She wrote and illustrated children's picture books. I didn't find out about her work, however, when I was a child. Like most people, I found out about her work when I was an adult. I was looking online, and I love everything to do with autumn, and this autumn illustration came up and I fell in love with it, and I thought it was a piece of artwork. I then looked more into it and found out that it was one of Shirley Hughes' illustrations from her picture book Autumn. So I went out and bought the book Autumn, and I bought a collection of Shirley Hughes' books. So what you can see in front of you is some of the books that I own of Shirley Hughes' work. Shirley Hughes was born Winifred Shirley Hughes. She was born in 1927 and was the daughter of a store owner, Thomas James Hughes. Now, his store was called TJ Hughes, which if you live in England, you probably know of that store because he set it up by himself as a small shop on Liverpool's London Road. He then went into business with someone else. It then later got sold on to someone else. But the store, at the height of its success, had 57 stores. Now TJ Hughes has 13 stores but does a lot of its trade online. Shirley Hughes then was educated at West Kirby Grammar School. She has said in interviews that she wasn't very academic, and so she left school when she was 16 and she went to study drawing at Liverpool School of Art. She later went to Ruskin School of Drawing and Fine Art in Oxford, and it was when she was studying at Oxford that she started working as an illustrator. So she used to illustrate picture books for other people, but very famous people's work. Books like My Naughty Little Sister by Dorothy Edwards and The Bell Family by Noel Streatfeild. And she didn't actually publish her own work that she had written and illustrated until 1960. So before that, she was illustrating works for other people. She then, when she finished her studies, moved to Notting Hill and got married in 1952 and had 3 children. In 1960, published her first book that she had written and illustrated, and that was called Lucy and Tom's Day, and that went on to be a series of picture books. She then went on to write 50 more stories, including Dodger and the Alfie series, which went on to be hugely successful. If you go into any bookstore in England and you go to the children's picture book section, there will always be a Shirley Hughes book. She is so successful. Her work is just absolutely stunning. Many of her picture books are written in rhyme, and they are just so beautiful, and they are stories about everyday life. So they're not great adventures, they're not to do with magic and mystical lands, they're actually very ordinary stories with ordinary people. So it will be about a tired mum taking her child to the park, and then when the child's at the park, the child is always the main character. The child will be jumping in the leaves and going and looking at the pond and walking the dog and just normal things, but it's made so exciting and beautiful and just comes to life in the illustrations. The thing with her illustrations as well is how she got so much movement within them. You feel when you see pictures of rain, like the rain is actually coming down in the picture. It's so beautiful the way it's done. I just love her work so much. The Autumn picture book is by far my favourite. It's just everything I would ever want from a picture book. It's stunning. I love anything to do with autumn, but the way everything's done, I love the page when it's fireworks, and the book is really saying all different things to do with autumn. So there's crunchy leaves, and obviously there's squirrels at the park, and the changing colours of the leaves, and then fireworks night is what we have in England. So she's got the fireworks night in there. It's so beautiful. In her life, she won many awards, and she died on the 25th of February 2022 at her home in London. She was 94 and suffered from a brief illness before she died. In her career, she wrote more than 50 books, which have sold 11.5 million copies. But she has illustrated, so on top of doing 50 books of her own, she has illustrated more than 200 books. I found a quote from her which I really agree with, and it's to do with technology and children. And this quote was taken from an interview in 2015 when she was talking about mobile phones. She said, "They are such a terrible distraction. Children love them, and I understand why, because they are instant and whizzy. Books, on the other hand, deserve space and time. It's my job with a picture book to slow children down, to make them pore over the drawings and recognise their world. Even before they read, they are learning to be readers, to notice things, to make connections. I love that quote so much. I think that's so true. With everything, with technology, children get tablets, iPads, Kindles, they're looking at TV screens, they're playing games on a phone. A picture book is such a slow way to wind down, to relax them, to slow them down. It's still so important, I think, to have a physical picture book, not just something on a screen all the time. Her picture books are so beloved and they're so special because for so many children that's the first book. That's the first thing into literature they get, is this picture book with this gorgeous rhyme that tells a story throughout it and these stunning illustrations, these beautiful works of art within this book. Is their first exciting look into what reading can be. And it's all about the ordinary and it's very relatable to ordinary children. And I think she really captured what children love, which is the simple things in life. It's not the big gestures or a new toy. It's actually small things like going for a walk in the park, playing in the puddles, all these things that once upon a time we all probably found the most thrilling thing was to be a child and on a swing in the park. I love that it's so ordinary and so beautiful. And for me, her illustrations are just absolutely stunning. And they were putting the magic into every day, because even though it is about everyday life, there is so much magic in the way she presents it in the picture books. It's just gorgeous. I just absolutely love her work so much. So let me know if you have read any of Shirley Hughes' work. She was an absolutely brilliant author and illustrator, and it's sad that there'll be no more books from her out there. So I'm going to end this video here. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed looking at my collection of Shirley Hughes' work, and this encourages you to go out and buy a picture book of hers because the work is absolutely gorgeous and it just makes me smile. Every time I pick up one of the books, the autumn book, and I just look at the illustrations, it just makes me feel so cozy. I just love it so much. So I'm going to end this video here and I'll see you again soon for another one.